So people move up and down the social ladder with our help oftentimes. We're always looking at people, and this is even an evolutionary view, is that the leaders will be they will fight their way to the top. They will have greater strength or a greater ability, and we always separate people. Even in evolutionary thought, there's this status, there's this hierarchy of even in the animal world, that there will be alpha dogs and beta dogs, and that people will follow those who have the things that are needed for survival. Whatever it is that that brings status, it's some kind of survival thing, and it's a world where oftentimes dog eats dog eat dog world. It's not the world that we actually believe is the best. We believe we should not just kill those who get in our way or use them, that there's some way that would be better. But in an evolutionary mindset, you can't really even say why that would be better, because why wouldn't you be the one of the greatest status who receives the rewards that come with status? Jesus is going to flip this around and say, look, if you really want to be a leader in my kingdom, you need to be a servant. You need to serve others. So his lesson to his disciples is, the kingdom of heaven is made of such as these children who don't seem to have all the gifts and talents that adults have that can shape the world, and yet they have something that Jesus finds significant. And the same when the disciples are arguing about who should be first in the kingdom. It's not the one who can thump his chest the most, or is the toughest and can beat everyone else down. He says, I want you to be a servant. And he showed in his life this desire to serve, to lower his own status. He even, from the very beginning, he empties himself and comes from heaven in his glorious state, empties himself of glory, and comes to the world and takes the form of a human, and just walks around and doesn't accumulate power, doesn't seem to do any of the things that a king or a god would do. He comes and with all of his power, he seems to use none of it for his own personal gain. It's always given away. And what he takes for himself is always trouble. It's always inconvenience. It always is a humble servant role. And even though he has a mission that he will complete, he sets his face like flint to the cross. He sets his mind on the cross, and he will not waver. And yet, every encounter that he has, he lifts others up and takes a demeaning or a less powerful role for himself. But except when he's dealing with Pharisees or people of power, he seems to be able to confront them fearlessly and say, show that their power is somehow false, that the status that they've gained came at a cost that was a cost of entrance to the kingdom. Somehow his kingdom, the kingdom that they're entering, is the one opposite, or that opposes the kingdom of Jesus. And he makes it very clear that if you oppose his kingdom, that will be a losing position. And that's the idea of the king who is a judge, that Jesus can decide who shall enter his kingdom, and he'll be right. It's something that's very hard, but if you want to oppose Jesus' kingdom and build your own kingdom, it's entirely doable, but it's at the great cost of being removed from the kingdom of Jesus, which is the eternal kingdom. And the king does have the right to decide. It's something that we understand innately. Anyway, we're going to go through this lesson. I wanted to go through kind of an overview. I'm trying to sort out how we will do these things, and I'm a lot better at yak and freestyle than I am at organizing and fitting together people within a framework of a lesson. We'll keep working on it. Thanks for joining me. Remember to like and subscribe. But most of all, like and subscribe to Jesus, because you'll find this king is worthy. You will like him. You'll find everything about Jesus when you read about him. People were amazed. And there was nothing about Jesus that wasn't surprising and wonderful. And he asked for people to follow. So if you're going to subscribe to anything, subscribe to this king. And also click the notification bell. You'll be able to be aware of when any new videos are dropped. But through prayer, make sure you're being notified of Jesus' movement in your life. Like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for Jesus, first of all. I will talk to you again.